Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's just 10 o'clock now. I'm going to give it another couple of minutes before we get things underway. We're expecting a large crowd this morning. So thank you for your patience. Good morning again. Thank you for your patience. I'm just going to give it another minute, everyone. There's still quite a few people joining us, so if I could ask you just to bear with me for another minute or two, and we will get things underway. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We have a really big crowd on with us this morning, so thank you for all of you who've taken the time out. Some really interesting names on the attendance. Great to see some existing customers and great to see some new customers. My name is John Clifford, and I've been responsible for organizing and facilitating this morning's session, building a skill-based organization with SAP SuccessFactors Talent Intelligence Hub. Delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues as well, who will give you a quick overview as we get things underway. Just wanted to do some general housekeeping just before we start. Typically, I think for those of you who've been on previous sessions, we liked to try and make these sessions as interactive and as engaging as possible. We will facilitate a questions and answer session. At the end of the session, you'll notice that on your profile that there is a chat element. So I would encourage you all to submit any questions you may have. But just out of respect to the speakers, I'd ask you to maybe refrain to doing that at the end of the session. Secondly, this morning's session is being recorded. And again, for those of you who've attended previously, this is something that we're more than happy to share with you at the end of this morning's session. So just going to get straight into things. Brief agenda. We'll cover introduction to Gaudi Group, building a skill-based organization for the future, talent intelligence overview, features of the actual talent intelligence hub. We'll do a system demonstration, let you leave with some key takeaways, and finally, as I said, we'll do questions and answers at the end. So as I said, I'm delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues. This really is an international affair. I'm based in Dublin myself. My colleague Andy Hodges, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, is sitting in London this morning. Nikolai Yanning, our head of SAP SuccessFactors, is sitting in Copenhagen. And our primary presenter, Barbara Domer, is sitting in London. Barbara is originally from Argentina. She's been working with Gaudi now for over 8 years. And she, it's fair to say, is our subject matter expert when it comes to talent, everything from recruitment, onboarding, offboarding, marketing, and so forth. She has a vast experience working in a wide range of different industries and different sectors, and really is, I suppose, our go-to person when it comes to anything to do with talent. Just for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are and what we do, I'm going to hand it over to Andy, and Andy will tell you a little bit about who Gaudi are, what we do, where we do it, and maybe a little bit about our history. Good morning, Andy.
Morning, John. Thank you for the introduction. I will be blessedly brief, and you'll also be pleased to know I'm not going to drain this slide. I'm not going to tell you what you can already see on the screen. And this really is for those that don't know us, a little bit of background about the organization. I mean, we're in our 25th year this year of existence as an organization, and we've always done two things: SAP HR and SAP payroll. That's where we cut our teeth. That's where we started our business. And we've grown our business from a small Copenhagen-based Danish organization to now being present in 11 countries in EMEA. And we cover all the points of EMEA: north, south, east, and west. Our most southerly point being Dubai, our most northerly being, I think it's slightly Stockholm, but I could be corrected on that one. But really, in our first 12 years, very much focused on SAP HR payroll, built up a really good credibility into like 180 consultants at that time. And then, of course, SuccessFactors overtook the SAP HR world. And so then 12 years ago, we had to transition ourselves and transform ourselves into what is a SuccessFactors organization. So we took our 186 colleagues and we had to transition them into also being able to do SuccessFactors. And that's been a very successful transition. And in my role as head of sales, I also run the UKI market with John as well. But in my sales role, people often ask me, do you actually use the software that you sell and you implement for us? And the answer to that is yes, we do, categorically. You'll see down in the bottom right-hand corner there some logos. We do use SuccessFactors. We use SuccessFactors for mainly core HR and performance management. We also use SAP Concur. We use a small software called Litmus that used to be part of SAP. We use Litmus for learning, and as an SME, as a small and medium-sized business, it suits us well to use Litmus for learning. And we also use ServiceNow as our IT and ITHR tool as well. So, we do use all of these different solutions from SAP. And one of the things we learned when we implemented SuccessFactors internally was, okay, we're compliant. We've got all this master data. Now we're GDPR compliant. We do time recording. Now, what do we do with this in relation to our colleagues? How do we engage our colleagues and get them interested in the software? Because there's a common complaint at the moment from end users as, okay, I've got another piece of software, I have to use it. No, have to use it, not want to use it. There's a difference. And so, but actually we should be engaging with our colleagues. So what do we do to manage our colleagues? How do we engage with our colleagues and manage them? And I think for the first 8 years of SuccessFactors, what we've seen is these kind of modular deployments, very good at what they do, but it haven't really been in any sort of cohesive user experience mode. And I think SAP's put a lot of effort in the last 3 or 4 years, genuinely. And I'm quite cynical, to be honest. They put a lot of effort into creating these new approaches to engaging colleagues, and how do you develop their careers? How do you manage them, and all these different things to make it much more engaging? And I think these things like Opportunity Marketplace is another one, Talent Intelligence Hub, all these different things, we've seen they're actually really adding value to the organizations that are deploying them. And that's what's great about today, is with our two colleagues and experts on the call here, and I'm going to shut up now and pass you over to them, we're really going to get into those things and look at those things and say, what are they? And you're going to get a great overview today and explanation of what those things are and how they might relate to your organization. So on that note, I shall pass you back to John, and I'm looking forward to this myself, John, never mind everybody else on the call, but thank you.
Great, Andy. Thank you for the overview. Going over to our office in Copenhagen, Mr. Janning, good morning. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, John. And for those of you who don't know me, I run our SuccessFactors business line in Gaudi. I started my career in HR, I think 12, 13 years ago, and have been working with SuccessFactors in all various and aspects and sizes for the last 10 years, implementing on both the client side and the last 7 years or so on the partner side here with Gaudi. So a lot of things has transformed the last couple of years in HR. And when I started in HR in learning and development, being a learning and development specialist in retail, it was very much focused around we need to onboard people quickly, and they need to learn something about the products, and then see you later. Then we put the people on a sales course to train them how to sell, which improve their sales numbers. And then after a couple of months or maybe 1 or 2 years, it was time to train those skills and competencies again. So we sent people to a sales training once again and hope that improved things. And I think that was really the story of potentially HR and learning 10, 12 years ago. Very much focused around classroom training once in a while, less focus on the job, more focus on competencies and not skills, and more focus on which degree and which experience do you have instead of which skills and which potential a person might have. So when doing SuccessFactors and working with HR, let's say 10 years ago, going into SuccessFactors, it was very much focused around a global standardization of processes, harmonization, global reporting, global organizational structures and master data, but also a framework of job architecture and a hierarchy, which is great. And a couple of years ago, settled the foundation for developing the HR function. I think everyone working with HR the last couple of years have realized that the requirements for HR have changed. COVID as an accelerator for that, playing HR as a strategic partner for the business, and HR evolving more into being focused around colleague experience, whole self model, skills, new ways of working, new generations coming into the workplace, combining with multiple set of generations. So that foundation has really changed. And with SuccessFactors, it's a good way to build on top of the foundation that many organizations have laid through the last couple of years on their SuccessFactors journey. So we all know with the Great Resignation, we have DEI topics going on, and the agility of running an HR function in this world is really critical. We also know that there's a shortage of skills, and only 1 in 5 are making significant changes to the workforce practice around skills and development. We also see that 8 out of 10 workers, HR and business leaders agree that jobs are no longer the best way to organize work. So you might think of your job structures in EC, might not be the best way anymore to organize how people are working, because they are working more into projects, more into self-organized teams, or working on specific tasks. So really broadening the work out there across the organization. We also see that employees and HR and business leaders wants to have a more fluid way of working, and HR wants to support and develop and engage workers doing so. So when building a skills-based organization for the future, according to a Deloitte study, 89% of executives say skills are becoming important for the way organizations are defining work, deploying talent, managing careers, and valuing employees. That also means that you can no longer rely on your potentially foundation data and your linear one-to-one learning activities developing competencies. Need to do something about that. 98% of business executives say they plan on moving towards becoming skills-based organizations, which is great. How do you then get there? Hopefully, Talent Intelligence Hub can be a part of that. And we also see 9 out of 10 organizations are actively experimenting with skills-based approaches. That's all great. However, there is a really big potential, as 59% of the workers says that my organization values degrees and job experience over demonstrated skills and potential. So having the right degree is of course great. Having the right job experience is of course great, but we also see these dynamics and a younger generation coming into the workforce where they might not have studied for 5 years to have a position in a corporate organization. They might have studied for 2 or 3 years, but have another set of skills developed anyway, combining their practical experience, their personal skills, and of course something related around their degree. So it's really interesting, those dynamics happening in the market and in organizations right now. And I'm really happy that SAP have pushed this Talent Intelligence Hub topic, because it is a really nice way of helping you as an organization on the path to becoming a more skills-based organization. So with that said, and that overview, Barbara is still on the call here, and Barbara will take you through TI Hub and the overview, the functionality, and the key takeaways of that. So Barbara, over to you, and look forward.
Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you. I'm still here. Yes. So I guess us or Nikolai introduced us into what are the main concepts leading to Talent Intelligence Hub. So the idea for today on my side is just to give you a quick overview. What is Talent Intelligence Hub? What are the components, some key features? Go into the system, show you a little bit of this application, how it works, and then of course discuss some takeaways. And going back to Nikolai's, I mean, he already introduced this transformation that the organizations are going, and where they are going from a job-based organization to a skills-based organization, and that is where, in a way, Talent Intelligence have comes. It basically serves like a nexus, connects individual strengths, styles, preferences with the people and experience across the SuccessFactors solution. So basically, it's the foundation of skills across the whole SuccessFactors ecosystem. And when I say the whole SuccessFactors ecosystem, I mean all of the applications. So from performance, from recruiting, goals, of course, onboarding, career development, succession. So it goes to all these SuccessFactors applications for the SuccessFactors suite and beyond. And when I say beyond, it means but because you can also, as you can see on this image, you can also integrate with other third-party applications or providers in terms of skills data. What you need to perhaps understand today is that based on what Nikolai's introduced and all this transformation, is that it will help or enable the organizations to maintain the skills of the people for success. It's not all about skills, but mainly it will help to store these skills and any other attributes and manage all these attributes in a centralized place or in a centralized library, which is known as the attributes library, which I will explain a little bit more in the next slide. But you also need to understand that people can access this library, can access these attributes, and they can see these attributes, add new attributes, and work on these skills and attributes within Talent Intelligence Hub, within the growth portfolio. And all these attributes, as I said before, are linked to all the SuccessFactors applications. So these attributes are linked to job profiles, to opportunity marketplace assignments. Of course, they are also linked to recruiting, to the hiring requisitions and the skills needed for the different jobs, to learning courses, if you have skill gaps, how you get there, how you close the gap. And of course, with all the other modules in SuccessFactors. Can we go John, to the next slide? Thank you. So basically, what are the components of Talent Intelligence Hub? We have, I'll say 3 or 4 main components. You can see 3 here, but I'll talk a little bit more about other components. We do have the growth portfolio. The growth portfolio, basically think of it like a file with data, and this data is skills, is competencies, but also any other attributes that your company or your organization needs or wants to track. So it will show those attributes that you have as an employee, but also for people who are like team leaders, let's say, you will also want to see the skills and these other attributes that your team has. So you can access that from the team portfolio as well. And you will have an idea where are the gaps, what do you need to develop, and also where your team has its strength. Now, let's talk about this attributes library that I actually show you or mentioned before. This is basically, of course, we are talking about skills, as I said before, but it's a lot more than that. It's not only skills, as I said, it's anything that your organization wants to track. So it could be aspirations, it could be, of course, behavioral competencies. We are very used to that word, and we're very used to work with competencies, but it can also be education, it could be languages, it could be certifications. So it could be mindset, it could be any attribute, anything that your organization wants to know and to track about their employees. And now let's go to skills. So before this latest release, this component was skills ontology, but now from this release onwards, we're calling this component Talent Intelligence Foundations, because as SuccessFactors said, and we also talked about, we are talking about the skills foundation within the company. And here's where we mention, of course, as well, the AI role within Talent Intelligence Hub. So SuccessFactors is also using AI to enhance to source skills, not only within SuccessFactors, but also outside. And how it's doing this is doing this within 2 areas in SuccessFactors, and it's within Microsoft Graph, in Microsoft Teams. So it's inferring skills based on the information that we get from Teams, but also within SuccessFactors from continuous performance management. And with these skills inferences, it gets all the information about skills and then can provide better recommendations to the employees in terms of what skills to develop, what courses or learning assignments to go through, and of course, career aspirations. So basically, it's getting the best out of the employees, but also out of the organization, the company. And before I jump into the next slide, if you can see this picture about the whole self model, just to quickly go through this, all what we talk about in Talent Intelligence Hub is based on the whole self model. And I think this might be perhaps the differentiation with on this solution. So as I mentioned, it's not just that we track skills, but also other capabilities as part of this attributes library. So as you can see here, is looking at other areas like aspirations. Where do I want to go within the business? What do I want to be? Or perhaps the sorry, preferences. Okay, how do I want to get there? What is my work preference? Do I want to work remote? Do I want to work hybrid? And of course, as well, strengths and styles. And you can integrate these strengths and styles with other third parties applications. Can we go to the next slide, John? Now, I talked about Talent Intelligence have been across or going through the whole SuccessFactors ecosystem. I also mentioned that it is using AI to enhance the solution, but how this, let's say, works within or how it connects with the different solutions and what value brings on the different solutions in SuccessFactors. And this is just a way to highlight how it connects and what value brings on the different solutions, the different modules within SuccessFactors. We already talked about this holistic picture of the workforce, just understanding the skills of our employees with this open framework with growth portfolio, and also not only skills, but also other relevant and important attributes, and getting this data not only from the skills library, let's say, but from multiple sources. As I said, with AI, we can get this enhanced and get the data driven from multiple sources. In relation to performance management, growth portfolio will show the employees their skills and how to track those, and it will help them to have like more meaningful conversations on the performance reviews. With learning and development, basically, people or employees can develop their experience. They can get recommendations driven by this by the growth portfolio based on the skills they have, based on the gaps, and they can find new roles or a new career path based on this prediction of the skills. Sorry, and same with the succession planning. Or now, if you know what skills your employees have and where are the potential, you can identify these successors within your planning or your career plannings. As any other process or solution, of course, you have available reports and dashboards just to make data-driven decisions, I'll say. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Barbara.
Good. So, talking about personas, just as an introduction, before we go into the system demo, we can think of three types of personas. We have, of course, the system administrators. They manage this talent intelligence hub. They maintain this attributes library, the tags, the proficiency settings. They create new attributes types. So this is more how you manage this hub. Then we have the employee, and as I mentioned before, employees have access to their growth portfolio. They have access to review their skills, add new skills, but also motivations, aspirations, strengths or styles. And then we have the manager, which also has, of course, access to their own growth portfolio, but they can navigate the team portfolio. They can see their team skills, their team's attributes, and they can add, remove, or rate these attributes within the growth portfolio. Good. Having said that, I guess it's time for the fun part, or even funnier, and go into the system.
That's great, Barbara. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take over now, John, if you
Sure.
don't mind. Just one sec. Good. I'll just ask John if you can let me know when you can see my screen. It may take, yeah, it may take a couple of seconds, not minutes.
Yeah, all good.
All good. That's great. It was not that bad. Good. So, what I wanted to show you today on this short demo, and I say short demo because it should only take a couple of minutes, but it's to show you what is the growth portfolio, how it looks like, what the employee can do within the growth portfolio, how it connects or links with other solutions, other processes, and just navigate around this application or solution. So this is the growth portfolio. Matthew Moore, he's an employee on the organization. He's also a team leader or a manager. As you can see, he can or he can review the skills and attributes that he has, and this could be based on his job role. It could be based on other experiences that he has, and he has been adding this data into the system. If I go to the skills, I'll see what is the proficiency that he has on all of these skills. And he can update the proficiency of the skills based on the development of this attribute. If I bring some experience from any other or in another way, which is not based on my role or current, let's say, learning assignments, I can still add some, let's say, attributes or skills into my growth portfolio. As I said, the attributes is library has a library of different type of attributes. In this case, this is the skills library where I can just search for skills that I know I have, or perhaps I want to search for skills that I want to develop because I'm just looking into my career and I just want to hit a certain path, so I need to develop certain skills. So you can select skills and add those skills to your growth portfolio, so you can keep track of those, but also your team leaders also know where you want to go. And same way we work with skills is how we work with other attributes. So we have competencies attributes. These attributes are coming from my current role, my current job. And this is the proficiency I have. As you can see, we can also see which of these competencies are critical or core competencies. And I know whether I have the full proficiency expected or whether I need to do something to close the gap on the proficiency. And before I talk about career aspirations, because we said it's not all about skills, it's about other motivation, higher aspirations. So as part of the attributes library, you can add or create other aspirations. In this case, it's just I want to show or I want to make sure that I am building my career path and what are my aspirations. I want to become a people leader. I want to become a subject matter expert. So I'm just adding these aspirations to my growth portfolio, and making sure that I get, or I do everything I can to get there. As part of the growth portfolio, and this is connected to AI as well, you could get skill recommendations based on what I talked before, which is the skill inferences from continuous performance management and Microsoft Graph. So I would get recommendations for skills based on that AI, let's say, data-driven information. And also, you can get, as I mentioned before, you can link or connect this to learning and growth recommendations. So if I need to, or I'm aiming to go to a certain role, I can get some learning recommendations. So basically how it works. I do have my current role here as a marketing manager. I know if I need to close any gap with the current skills or attributes that are linked to that specific role, as you can see here. But also, I have my aspirations, where I want to get my career, where I want to go next. Okay, next I want to go to a marketing director role. And based on the skills and the attributes from this other role, I know whether I'm ready for this role or whether I need to work on something to get there. If you need to work on something, then is where you will get some learning recommendations driven by Talent Intelligence Hub. It will tell you, okay, what do you need to, assignments you need to go through so you can get or gain those skills for your next role. And I mentioned before, this is the growth portfolio and how can I see everything if for myself. But if I'm a team leader, I also have the view for my team. Let's go there. There we go. So basically, what I can see here is just my team portfolio. I have access to my team. I can I can detect very quickly and assess the skills gap. As you can see, this is like a very good overview. If there is any gap on skills, I can create skills gap assignments. I can also use filter options if I have a very big team to search for specific skills or attributes, or for prioritized skills. You can use tags to search for this. So you have an idea where your team is as well in terms of their skills and their motivations. And then you can work together just to, get or to improve those skills proficiencies. Let me quickly go back because I wanted to mention something about, let's say, the career aspirations. So, and I mentioned before that we do have the connection with Opportunity Marketplace. So it's either your team or yourself that you have certain aspirations, you can access the Opportunity Marketplace directly from driven by Talent Intelligence Hub. So basically, you can explore career opportunities, and you can filter these opportunities by skills, and you can get personalized learning assignments, recommendations based on the skills, based on your growth portfolio as well. So, and it's, for those who know, Opportunity Marketplace is not just related to this. It's just you can find not only other job roles, but you can also find internal roles which are related to these opportunities that you are tracking or you want to go through within the company. Good. Let's go don't want to stay on. Opportunity marketplace. Oh, sorry. Let's go to growth portfolio. Back. Good. So I did mention before, and just to finish this part of the demo, about the attributes and how you could add attributes, not only skills or competencies, but any attributes from the attributes library. When you create attributes, or when assistant admin create attributes, you will see them, let's say, different type of attributes that are available for you to add as part of your own growth portfolio. And also, attributes can have tags. Basically, those tags, help. I guess it's more like, to find the different attributes for the people, or use as searching for attributes. And when I shared with you before whether you could add attributes or skills, you could also, for any attribute type that you add your own proficiency. Now, if you do have a proficiency level already because of your current role or because of your performance review, this proficiency level will be added as well to this attribute. So in summary, when you add an attribute to your growth portfolio and you develop in a way, either through learning courses or because you get a performance review and there is an update on the proficiency level, it will come directly, or it will be updated directly as well on your growth portfolio. Last thing that I wanted to mention is on your growth portfolio, you can set up the skills, aspirations, competencies, any other attribute, but you can also show your company, show your leaders what is your passion. Okay, you can show them where you want to go to a career, but you can also show them what's your passion. And that's what we use this little heart here. So by adding or by choosing or selecting the little heart, you're just telling the company, okay, I have these aspirations and I'm passionate about these aspirations. So it would be good if we can do something to get or to develop the employee there. Good. I think that would be mainly it for this demo. Hopefully,
great, Barbara.
Yeah.
I'll take control, Barbara, and maybe we could just cover the key takeaways
Yes.
quite quickly. Just conscious of the time. There's quite a few questions and something
Of
that
course.
we would like to address. Thank you. It was really good. I hope everyone got value in that. So just bear with me. Share my screen. Can you see that? It might be a bit slow, is it?
Yeah, we see it, but not full screen.
Full screen. Can you put it full screen?
So just this is the last slide really before we go into the Q&A. Barbara's just going to, I suppose, summarize really what we've covered, and I suppose from a consultancy perspective may also just give you food for thought and then something to take away. So you're nearly there, Barbara. You can...
Yeah. So I guess always when you talk about Talent Intelligence Hub and how it connects with everything, then you start thinking, oh, well, now I need just to have, like a skill framework or library, everything built up before I can actually set up Talent Intelligence Hub. Well, you don't need actually to have like a very complex skills library before you actually set up Talent Intelligence Hub. You can just start with the existing data you have, or as I said, focus on critical or core skills initially, and then starting building up your attributes library. And also, as I mentioned before, you can connect with third-party vendors. So if you don't have a skill framework, a skills library, or skills ontology, you can get this from a third-party vendor, and you can get our support on that, because we do have some alliances, and we can recommend the approach for this. Also, talking about Talent Intelligence Hub and the job architecture. So because it is really connected to the job architecture, you may have heard of job profile builder, job roles, and the skills and competencies linked to this. Although this, of course, it's very important, you don't actually need to have your full job architecture in place, because, as I mentioned and I show you in the demo, within the growth portfolio, your employees can manually add competencies, and they can add these proficiency levels of these competencies, these attributes that they have. Might be if they are not related to the job, but within the experience they have and they have brought to the company. And same thing is within performance management. The employees can add the skills and competencies to the form, and then this information it will pull, and you can pull, this information into the template, or tagging the competencies, the skills as core on the template. Okay, and then with in relation to learning, you can link the skills or the attributes directly to the learning items. So if these learning items have skills linked to them, when the employee goes through that learning, specifically to close the gap of the skills, they will get then the relevant proficiency in terms of the skills and close that gap. So basically, if you don't fully have your jobs architecture established, you can start with other part of the framework, let's say, or the skills framework within Talent Intelligence Hub. Lastly, on the implementation journey, we can help you on a strategic approach to design and to guide you how you should transition from, or how you should go through this transformation process and journey as efficiently as possible from where you are today into Talent Intelligence Hub.
Well done, you. Great presentation. Thank you, Barbara. Very, very insightful.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm going to give Barbara a chance to catch her breath, but that's not going to stop us from getting into the questions and answer. And there's quite a few, which is great, and please feel free to continue submitting them, and we'll get around to as many as we can. So Nikolai Yanning, not to put you on the spot, but here we go.
But I'd
Gemma,
like to start.
Gemma, firstly, thank you for your feedback. It's very kind of you. Really good question also. This one is for you, Mr. Yanning. Could you please provide more detail on how the skill-based approach and Talent Intelligence Hub will bolster the existing succession module in SuccessFactors?
Yes, thank you, John, for putting me on the spot on that one. I think if we, what I suggest, because I have to dig deep a bit on succession functionality here. Maybe Barbara knows, so maybe I'll hand it to Barbara, or we will just come back to Gemma afterwards on that, or for everyone else. But I'd like to start on the skills part, if that's okay, John, because there are some questions around skills library, how to maintain skills, and what about proficiency, whether that is validated. And here we suggest that you look into the market of working with a third-party vendor, Gaudi are partnering with TechWolf, who integrates skills and validation of skills in the flow of work. So that is an intelligent engine that could be integrated with your backend environments, and on that say, hey, John, it looks like you have this skill because you work now on 10 Jira tickets on specifically ServiceNow support. Is that true? And then you would validate that. In Teams, it would be sent to Talent Intelligence Hub, and then the manager can validate and approve as well. So that is something both in terms of skills library, but also proficiency and validation of skills. We suggest that you look into, hopefully together with us.
Right. Another question, and this is an excellent question too, Nikolai, for you. This is from Stina. Thank you, Stina, for the question. Do you need a license to access Talent Intelligence Hub? Is it a module?
Yeah, so the Talent Intelligence Hub has an implementation to it. It does not have an additional license cost. The only additional license you would need to procure is if you want to use Opportunity Marketplace, but you can do that afterwards. If you don't want to start with that, you can start with TI Hub without the need for extra licenses, and then a fast and efficient implementation.
Right. Another question, another very good question. Thank you, Luca, and thank you for your feedback. It's appreciated. Can you set up, role-based permissions for Talent Intelligence Hub?
Yes. The TI Hub supports or is supported by the RBP framework in SuccessFactors. You can granularly control who has access to what, and you can also start to roll it out in only some parts of your organizations in case you want to run a pilot before rolling it out to the full population.
Thanks, Nikolai. Good question here as well. Barbara, I'll pass this one over to you if you don't mind. Can you explain a little about the AI element regarding TIH a little?
Yes.
And that's from Michael. Thank you for the question, Michael. Thank you, Barbara.
So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of improvements and enhancements on the roadmap of SuccessFactors TI Hub with AI. What I mentioned before is what it has today is these skills inferences, just to get the skills inferences from different sources. But it also has the connection with after this release with job descriptions in recruiting, skills matching on the applications, and skills validation when the candidate applies. So all this AI data is being used just to drive and to get the skills data source within SuccessFactors. And when we talk about AI and SuccessFactors, you may need to also be aware there are some licenses behind that you will need to think of. But I mean, it depends on what you are looking to have related to AI. We can support or advise you how to get that or how to get there.
Thanks for the answer, Barbara. Just going to spend another couple of minutes on the questions. For those of you that we don't answer, we're more than happy to get back to you. This is another one, I think, Nikolai, as well, that's relevant to, I suppose, skills. Do you have any recommendations on how to keep the skills library updated and relevant? And that's from Wendy. Thanks for the question, Wendy.
And a good question, and is also a challenge for organizations. So what about the skills library, but also individually on a colleague level? How are those skills maintained and updated continuously? What we suggest is that you select potentially a third-party vendor on the skills framework to support this work. We are more than happy and capable to help you on that journey. So that would be the direction to look at. Otherwise, you would need to maintain a skills library manually, which we believe is not future-proof and capable right now.
Right. Two more questions. One for Nikolai, one for Barbara. Nikolai, you first. Barbara mentioned during the course of the presentation, I suppose, how you can complement TIH with third-party solutions. You mentioned a couple. Is there any ones that you would particularly recommend, or is there benefit for an initial user of TIH to start using third-party solutions? And that's a good question as well. And that one is from Jakob. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can start with TI Hub with the with a standard set of skills and run a more manual process to that and start to get used to it and roll it out in the organization. We are looking at, if we look at the skills inference, we're looking at two partners whom we're working with, one being Litmos that also supports a content framework for the learning activities and also a platform, but we can take content into SuccessFactors learning to support the growth of skills. But they also provide a skills taxonomy, which you can use and integrate. And the other one is TechWolf, which is a backend engine. So it doesn't have a front end. That's where you will use TI Hub in the growth portfolio, but it's a backend engine for skills running on AI, of course.
Thanks, Nikolai. Last question, Barbara. Another very, very, very good question. And this one is from Brigitte. Thanks for the question, Brigitte. Can you migrate your competencies from Job Profile Builder to Talent Intelligence Hub?
Yes, you can. And there are actually different migration approaches based on how you currently have your setup of either Job Profile Builder, Job Description Manager, if you remember that, and Center of Capabilities. So depending on how your current setup is the approach that we will recommend to go through on the migration process to Talent Intelligence Hub.
Great, Barbara. Thank you so much. And on that note, please join me in thanking both Barbara and Nikolai for a really, really informative session. I hope you all found value in it. If you are interested in learning more about Gaudi or about our Talent Intelligence Hub offering, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Barbara or Nikolai or Andy. We do these sessions at least once a month. We try to cover, I suppose, what's on trend or what's hot at the moment within HR and within SuccessFactors. It's very evident, I think, to the amount of people who joined us this morning that there's a huge amount of interest around TIH.
John?
Yes, Andy.
John, quick question for you. What's the next session coming up?
So the next section is on one of our SuccessFactors extensions. It's for those of you who aren't familiar with PXM Soft, it's a relatively new service line that we went to market with over 12 months ago, and we'll be covering org chart and modeling. I think.
Okay, yeah. So like an Ingensis and Akiza type alternative,
Exactly.
really. Okay,
Exactly.
great. Thank you.
But commercially a lot more attractive. But anyway, thanks for the question, Andy. I'm going to hand it back to Nikolai just for the final words. But from my perspective, again, thank you to everyone who's taken out the busy of their time this morning to attend, and I look forward to seeing you on the next session. Thank you. Nikolai, final words?
Yes, thank you for joining us, Sid, and thank you for your questions and feedback in the chat. We really appreciate it. In case you want to chat with one of us, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to jump on a call and discuss. And this is really the initiative around TI Hub, Growth Portfolio Opportunity Marketplace is really what also creates that stickiness towards the solution you are investing in, and also for your colleagues to adopt and use the solution even more. So look into that, and we'd be happy to help you. Again, thank you very much for joining. Feel free to reach out if anything, and otherwise have a wonderful day ahead.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Look forward to
Thank
seeing you
you,
in the next
everyone.
section.
See you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
It's just 10 o'clock now. I'm going to give it another couple of minutes before we get things underway. We're expecting a large crowd this morning. So thank you for your patience.
Everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
In meeting.